in. What does this mean for Singapore's $1.8 billion tuition industry, and how will it affect parents? Join me and my guests in a live, special one-hour edition of Talking Point. We want you to be part of this discussion too. You can post your comments and questions by scanning this QR code. We'll try to take as many as we can during the show. And on the bottom right corner of your screen, you'll also see a way to send your reactions through emoticons throughout the show. So let me know how you feel. Now, if you are a parent like me, you might have seen this.
I don't like people who use their students to advertise their services when they might, from what we know, given so-called a discount or enticement to the students. I think all these are unnecessary and it just adds to the guilt tripping of the parents.
That was a snippet of Minister Chan criticizing what he called black sheep in the tuition industry. The Education Ministry is working on guidelines to curb unethical advertising, tactics that Mr. Chan said exploit parents' anxieties. Let's go first to the tuition centre representatives. Lily, do you think that comment is fair?
Well, I think when we first heard the comments, if I have to use an emoji to describe how I felt, it would really be the one with the big eyes that goes, because I think as someone who's been in the industry for the past 10 years, I would dare say that we have invested a lot to build relationships with parents and also to build the trust in order to let them know how we want to positively impact their children.
Okay, Jace, yourself.
The advertising is always a very good platform for many tuition centers to be out there to showcase to parents or to tell them what we are doing. And I wouldn't say that it's bad for all. In fact, many of us, we come from a basis where we really want to give our best to the students that we are taking care of. So the advertisement...
I think something which maybe some parents or maybe the audience may not know is that sometimes we do involve, marketing agencies. So because it is not possible for us to do everything on our own, we do not have our own marketing team. And when the marketing agencies get involved, sometimes they do pitch ideas which we feel may not be suitable for how we want to share our services as well as the information with the parents.
So basically what you're saying is that you self-regulate, if you will.
Yes, we do.
Okay, now before I get to the rest of my guests, let's run a quick poll by our viewers watching us. Do you think the government should regulate the tuition industry's advertising practices? Scan the QR code and vote yes or no. I'll be hearing from you. Now, joining us in this part of the discussion on Zoom is Brian Tan from Singapore's Advertising Standards Authority, which is working with the Education Ministry on an advertising code of conduct for the tuition sector. Hello, Brian. First question to you. Have you received complaints from people over tuition centres?
Good evening, Diana. I'm pleased to be here with your guests. Over the last 5 years, the ASAS has received about 10 complaints in relation to tuition centres. This is actually quite a small number as compared to annually receive about 400 complaints across all industries.
So if it's a small number of complaints, should we really be worried about it?
Well, I think a couple of things. We haven't done a deep dive into the number of complaints. And one of the factors might be that this is not a widely known feedback channel for parents and as well as for students. And so the complaints that we've had over the last 5 years in the other industries tend to relate around the more common grouses around F&B, e-commerce, telecom services, and spas. But perhaps with with more knowledge by the public, we could see the numbers rise.
Could I just ask you to elaborate a little bit on the 10 complaints that you've had in the past 5 years? What sorts of complaints were they?
Sure. I think those complaints revolved around three main areas. The first, claims about the results of specific tuition centers. So they made claims that their students had this particular result. Second, claims about teacher qualifications. And third, where there were complaints by, I think, students for the use of their images without their consent by the centers.
Do you think that there are signs or trends that these complaints will go up?
I think certainly with more kind of public education as well as public awareness, this could go on the rise, yes.
Okay, let me just ask Poonam as well as Angela, both of you are parents. How influenced are you by the kinds of advertising claims that tuition agencies put out? Angela, let's start with you.
So when I first started having tuition for my child, I looked for a tuition center, and I was very influenced by advertising at that point of time because I was new to the tuition industry. So what I did was, I look out for any of the tuition center that has a lot of advertising, and then they have a lot of centers, and as well as a lot of good reviews and everything.
Okay. So as a newcomer,
Yes,
you paid a lot more attention to it.
Yes,
Have you ever been misled by advertising claims before?
So what I felt was that, a lot of times they actually mention that, this child actually scored a certain grade. But then I'm not so sure, how big is the improvement in that child. So, the child could have, been from a F9 to a A2 grade, or, it could be just simply a A2 to a A1 grade.
So what you're saying is that there is actually no way for you to verify these advertising claims.
Yes.
Poonam, what about yourself? Do you rely on these advertising to make decisions?
Yes, I do. Actually, when I started shopping on getting a right to tuition agencies, I rely a lot on social medias to get the right agency. Just like Angela, I looked at reviews, I looked at success rates. I needed to know, but I was kind of misled on one occasion. It's so true, like it could be a F9 going up to a grade up, or a A2 to an A1. So how do you define that?
Okay, but you weren't exactly misled. It's just that you didn't know how to verify it.
Yeah, but when I asked, so they didn't exactly explain. So I felt that there was a gap there.
Okay.
And then I became more mindful after that. Yeah.
Now, ahead of the show, we asked you whether advertisements from tuition centers affect where you send your child. Now, let's take a look. 70% of you, that's out of about 240 respondents, say it does make a difference. In fact, about 20% of our viewers said they were highly influenced by a tuition center's advertising when choosing one. So, Lily, on your website, you do have some phrasing that I would say could cause parents some anxiety. For example, you say, get ahead of the upcoming syllabus, and that being informed is crucial. Do you think that veers on fear-mongering?
I do not think so, because I think what we are trying to present to the parents, as well as even students or educators who come to our website, is really to share with them that these updates are happening, and we are aware that different schools are introducing them at different pace. So if you are to hear it from someone else and it's not a credible source, I think that will actually create more fear in you, thinking that you should lead your child a certain way to be updated. But for us, what we are saying is we do know what the exact changes are, and we're trying to support. So that's why I think the phrasing here is really to help them and help the parents really to support the children.
Okay, Jason, I want to come to you on your website as well. You have an entire selection of student testimonials.
Yeah.
And you also have things like, quote, 92% of students who have been with you for 2 years or more have improved by at least 1 to 2 science grade. That seems to be the kind of things that the Education Minister was pointing out. What is your response to that?
I wouldn't say that is what the Education Minister was pointing out. He was pointing more to those who are using the numbers, but not being clear or transparent. My numbers that I put up there is more for parents to see that there is improvement, because what parents want when they send their children for tuition is they want them to get better. Yeah, so for us, we are really more forefront with showcasing our values and our beliefs.
If that's the case, can I ask for more transparency? For example, you can tell me how many percent improved in grades, but how many percent did not. If you are going to publish results, then publish the whole thing, so that it's very clear. Because you can tell me that 20% made it to the top schools, for example. Then what happened to the 80%? Nobody knows where they go to. So you're only looking at the good news. That's something for us to think about. But Prof, I would like to come to you. And earlier, Brian had shared with us the numbers. 10 complaints over 5 years doesn't seem to be a lot. So why should we be concerned about regulation?
I think it's important for all of us to realize that when we are talking about education as a consumer good, it's not exactly the same thing as, say, furniture or washing detergent, because we are talking ultimately about the intellectual and cognitive development of young people who are in a very vulnerable age group. And that's why I think these students and their parents need that sort of consumer protection. I think it's important to have ethical advertising also in order for parents and students to be able to make well-informed choices.
Do you think we are behind in terms of regulating the tuition industry? What are your thoughts?
Well, I would say that the industry is quite diverse, and also parents are quite diverse in terms of what they're looking for, in terms of their knowledge of the industry and what various tutors are offering. So that's why I think there's this need also for consumer education, as it were.
We'll get back to elaborate on the regulation. For now, I would like to share with you something that was communicated with us just today. Viewer Dashika Thamalingam wrote in on her stressful experience with a tuition centre that kept advertising extra classes. The centre claimed her son needed additional support and that boot camps would give students help that would not be shared during the regular tuition. Now, we spoke to her. This is just one of the many text messages the centre sent to her. When we spoke to her about her experience, she said she did try to move her son to a different tuition centre, but did not do so because it was his PSLE year. She was worried it might affect his exam prep. Does that sound familiar, mummies?
Yes.
We've all gone through that. And so earlier I asked if you think the government should regulate the way tuition centres advertise. We have the results of the poll. Let's take a look now. 84.4% of our viewers said yes, the government should regulate. That leaves about 18% that said no. Brian, I'm going to come to you now. When it comes to regulating the advertising space, what is the biggest problem that needs to be fixed right now?
Wow, okay. That's a big question. And I think when it comes to advertising regulation, I think there are quite a number of different ways to go about it. One way that the advertising industry itself handles this is by industry self-regulation. And that means that industry players come and form up and they form some guidelines. In our case, it's called the Singapore Code of Advertising Practice. And we say that we will adhere to this practice and we agree as a community, as an industry, to do that. In some other cases, in other industries, for instance, like the real estate industry, the lawyers, the accountants, by statute, they are organized and they have their own regulatory function for that. And some of that is also administered by a regulatory agency. And then in some other cases, for instance, like the renovation industry, they have what they call a trust mark, a certification mark. And that is voluntary, and that means that the parties who agree to carry this particular mark need to implement a couple of programs. For instance, a dispute resolution program, adherence to certain technical standards.
Sorry to interrupt. You have mentioned many examples. Is this the stage of consultation that your association and MOE is having right now? Where is there a timeline for when the industry will be able to see this code of conduct?
I don't have any details of a timeline. What we did was to present how the advertising industry regulates advertisement. And in our case, it's an industry-led self-regulatory function. I also would add that I think just like Prof. Joseph's point, Jason's point, that it's a consumer protection issue, and certainly I think that's the case. but also when it's an industry self-regulation, it also means that the industry sees that there's value in building trust, because good players will build trust. And what they are trying to prevent are really the black sheep, causing the trust that has built up by the good players from bringing that down.
Brian,
and so is the industry.
Can we talk
yes.
Can we talk specifically about student testimonials? Testimonials is very common in many industries. So is there an issue? Can tuition centers continue to do so?
I don't have a position on student testimonials per se. I think some thought has to be given to that. Will it be ethical for students to provide testimonials? And if they do, would they, for instance, have to declare whether they have received an incentive to provide those testimonials? So, for instance, will they pay some form of money? You will find that similar kind of standard being placed in other instances. So, for instance, if somebody is being sponsored for a product and he then endorses that, he'll have to say that, yes, I'm being sponsored to do that. So, some questions do arise if you want to look at that specific issue.
Okay. Slimming centers can do this sort of testimonials. Tuition centers and slimming centers, or spas for that matter, how different are they? How different will it be when it comes to your association regulating the industries?
Okay, I think different kind of scenarios have different considerations. And one consideration, again, that was mentioned before, and I agree with that, is that in this particular area, we are dealing with a lot of children. And children do not react similarly as adults would to a consumer issue, to a consumer advertisement. And I think we need to be mindful of that particular fact.
How much bite will this code of conduct have?
Well, I don't know whether there'll be a code of conduct, but certainly if some form of regulation is put up, I think that will be a consideration. How much bite? Who will have the power to enforce it? Who will have the power to be able to levy some kind of compliance with it? I think those are all the kind of issues that one would have to think through if we were to put in such a framework.
Sounds like that's still work in progress. Prof. Jason, I'm going to come to you. This sort of regulation, if it does come, will it cover the entire tuition industry? For example, we're not talking about home tutors as well as tuition agencies. Is it possible to cover the entire industry?
Not at all, because as I said earlier, the tutoring landscape in Singapore is so diverse, and nobody even knows for sure how many freelancing home tutors there are out there. So how can we even begin to talk about regulating these freelancers if we don't even know how many of them there are in the first place?
Okay, now let's move on to my next question to you who are watching at home or online. Please scan the QR code you see on the screen and in one word, describe how you feel when you think about tuition, whether you're a parent or a student. Now, the Education Ministry has, over the past 2 decades, rolled out various initiatives to reduce our emphasis on grades. Yet what's going on in the private tuition sector is running counter to this policy direction. Why is that so? That's coming up after the break.
Oika allows you to exchange your e-bike battery on the go at the nearest battery cabinets, and you can keep riding. No waiting, no downtime.
Our battery swapping services are available across Cambodia, Indonesia, Thailand and Malaysia. But we conduct R&D at our headquarters here in Singapore. In addition, we have also digitally transformed our assets. IoT is integrated into our batteries, motorbikes and cabinets. This system can tell you how many batteries are deployed and where they are.
As a pioneer to launch this service in Southeast Asia, every challenge is brand new. We had to acquire a deep understanding of the region, the legal requirements, consumer wants, infrastructure capabilities. It is an ongoing cycle of trying, testing, and innovating to create the best product at the right price point, making clean energy more accessible and affordable for the everyday customer.
Ayah, Caltrate UC2. Walk, run, climb stairs, squat, and bend. 90% of users agree Caltrate UC2 improves joint mobility for 5 daily tasks.
Burger, fries, and a drink from just $5. Next Saver Meals, only at McDonald's.
Nippon Paint, odorless. Nippon Paint, odorless, all in one. Singapore's most popular paint brand.
Are you ready? Oh, come on. Celebrate, come celebrate. Come on, let's do it. Reach the top like never before. It'll be our own call. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Sail with us and get up to $1,050 instant savings. Applaud every moment on board Ovation of the Seas. Book now.
BioWell Premium Quality RTG Fish Oil. High concentration omega-3 with up to 97% purity. Each batch of products are certified by IFOS, Friend of the Sea, and GOED Omega-3 standard, achieving the highest quality, safety, and purity standards in the world. Available at both Guardian Health and Beauty Online and Offline Store, or www.fairprice.com.sg.
Let your future take flight at Career Forward, brought to you by MediaCorp in partnership with Skills Future Singapore and Workforce Singapore.
Find out how to plan your career and enhance your skills at Career Forward 2025.
Discover new career opportunities across diverse industries. Gain insights and guidance from experts to boost your career health.
Turn your career goals into reality with a smart action plan.
Explore how Skills Future can help you to grow and thrive.
Stay ahead of the competition with cybersecurity skills.
Bridge the gap between technology and business to drive success.
Learn how to lead and influence at every level of your organization.
Uncover how to rejoin the workforce seamlessly after a long career break.
There are prizes up for grabs. Join us on 8th and 9th March. Take flight at careerforward.sg.
Career Forward is also supported by Singapore Civil Defence Force, NTUC's E2I, and the following partners.
In 2013, families here spent 1.1 billion Singapore dollars. That's for lessons at home or at centres. 10 years later, in 2023, it's up 63% to reach 1.8 billion Singapore dollars. There are also more options today. There are over 870 tuition and enrichment centres, up from about 600 10 years ago. There is no official database for home tutors, although a tuition agency which connects families and home tutors claims to have over 20,000 active tutors in their database. Well, clearly tuition is big business here in Singapore. And now I'd like to read some of the comments that you have sent in. Let's take a look. Without tuition, I feel like I'm letting my child down. This is interesting. Tuition is a sign that schools are not doing enough. The source of the problem is parents' obsession with grades. Why so expensive? The rat race has made tuition a necessity. And this is really, really interesting. And I would say close to my heart as well. Issue tuition vouchers for students from lower income background. Let's talk a little bit about that later on in the show. Now, before the break, I asked you to describe in one word how you feel when you think about the word tuition. Let's take a look at what you have said. Unnecessary, kiasu, expensive, stressful, okay, nothing that shocks me really. And yeah, kiasu and unhelpful and tiring, scam. I see the boys smiling. Okay, not bad about that, okay? Expensive, FOMO, bad, boring, overrated. I can see why. You know, The responses that I have on the word cloud here just show how emotional people can get about tuition and also how varied the experience can be for different people. Now, let's take a look now. If you have any questions during the show, please scan the QR code and scan them to us. And on the bottom right of the screen, you can also send us your immediate reactions through the emoticons. I have a question now for viewers at home. What is the main reason that you send your child for tuition? And if you are a student, why you opt for tuition? We'll get back to your results in a while. But for now, let's take a look at this.
I started the first one, primary one, and then the second one, I think I started in primary one or primary two, somewhere around there.
Maybe 3 to 4 times. I know some of my classmates who go 7 to 8 times per week.
Chinese is 2 hours, and math and English are 1 hour and 45 minutes.
And we've got the kids joining us now on the show, and I'm smiling because I was watching the boy's face earlier on. I can always count on you, Caleb. I want to ask you, I last met you when you were on Regardless of Grades in the year that you were preparing for your PSLE.
Yes.
So you're in Sec 2 now. How much tuition do you have?
I have math, science, and Chinese, geography, and history tuition, which in total is 5 tuitions.
Okay. Go ahead.
It is. I feel like it's quite a lot for me, but now that I have a lot of schoolwork also, and adding on to the tuition work, I feel like it's a little stressful, but now and then I feel like it's quite okay as improvement and practice for my work.
So you feel you're torn two ways about it?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll come back to you to follow a little later on. Julian, what about yourself? This year is PSLE year.
Yeah.
What tuition do you have?
English, math, basically for all subjects.
For all subjects? And for your mother tongue, what are you doing?
2 times a week.
Okay, Chinese language, is that right?
Yes. Correct.
Okay, so do you think that is a lot of tuition? Who wants the tuition, you or your parents?
I think it's both because I want to get good results and get into my dream school, and my parents also want me to get into a good school so that my future will be set.
Okay, Mummy, let's come to you. Poonam, why have you signed him up for so many lessons?
Literally, it was help. He needed help from, especially so for mother tongue. We come from a non-speaking background. There was only this much I could help him. But when I realized there was a dip in his results in primary 3, I knew that he needed help in problem sums. And I realized I was teaching him in the wrong way. So when a teacher wrote to me and said that, please stop teaching your son, that's when I realized I needed
that
a tutor.
happened?
Yes, it literally happened.
Are you talking about the school teacher?
Yes, the school teacher actually wrote to me and said that, please stop teaching your son.
How did you feel when you got that?
I was like, thank you for telling me. You should have told me this earlier.
Okay.
I wouldn't have, took all my weekends going through Qubits, online platform, learning how to solve the problems. So we got the answers correct. But the thing is, the method of going through the answer was wrong. So that's when I realized that, he needs help.
Okay, you have 2 other children.
Yes,
and they
I have
are
twins.
Yes. Do they also have the same amount of tuition?
No, I've got bad. So my daughter, she's a little resistant, and she feels that she doesn't need as many tuitions as compared to her brother. Her brother is, well, I need all the help that I need because I'm equally busy in my sports in school. So any additional help will help me.
Is there a difference in their results?
Yes.
One twin that has got tuition and the other one that doesn't?
Significant.
Okay. Who's better?
My son, who has more tuition.
Okay, so tuition helps?
It does.
In the case of your twins?
Yes.
Okay.
But also, I'm not forcing my daughter. I let them choose as well. Yeah.
Okay, let's take a quick break now, but we want to see what you have said in the polls. Let's take a look at the poll results. I asked, what is the main reason why your parents sent you, or why do you want to go for tuition? Let's see now. 48% of you say that it's because of the specific subject difficulties. Nearly 50% say it's the specific subject difficulties. The number 2 answer will be unable to keep up in school. and to prepare for a major exam, and finally because everyone else does it. So the smallest group that says because everyone else does it, that's actually the answer. So I'm just not sure if FOMO is the real reason why people are going for tuition. And for those of you who are watching at home, in case the graphics are blinking, that's because the results are dynamic and they keep changing all the time. Okay, so the Education Ministry has been progressively scrapping mid-year examinations across primary and secondary schools from 2018. The move is aimed to reduce overemphasis on examinations and grades. But have the scrapping mid-year exams reduced reliance on tuition? Your time to vote now. Scan the QR code. Okay, let's go to the kids again. Julian, how about we start with you this time round? Do you think that by not having mid-year exams, you feel that you should go for less tuition?
No, because we have to also prepare for the end of the year exam, and if you don't prepare early, we may not do well.
Okay, so you got to keep up the pace, is that right? Caleb, what about yourself? No mid-year exams means no need to go for tuition.
To be very honest, I personally feel that there's no change. More WAs or no mid-year exam is practically the same. It just means that you have to practice harder, study harder to get better grades.
Okay, so it's just the words have changed, but your circumstances haven't changed very much. Okay, Angela, I see you nodding away. Are you less anxious about his grades?
I would say that not having mid-year exam doesn't make me less anxious because all the weighted assessment, like Caleb has mentioned, will actually reflect, what he has learned for the term. So, if that particular term itself, the result comes back and it's not really that good, it means that he's having difficulty with that term. So,
but can I just ask you that right now in Sec 2, because my youngest is in Sec 2 as well, they have a lot of what they call the AA. What does AA stand for, darling?
What is
assessment? The assessment, which takes the place of the weighted assessment. Does that not help you?
Caleb's school doesn't have AA, it's all WA. So even if, it's small little quiz and everything that happens in between, I get nervous about it as well.
You do?
I do, because I'm not so sure, how exactly Caleb is doing, and that is actually a reflection of how he's doing in school.
Got it. Yeah. And Poonam, what about yourself? I know that he's in PSLE this year, so there will be prelims to worry about. So let's speak about this in the context of the twins. Does having no mid-year exam help you at all?
Not exactly as well. I share the same sentiments as Angela. Any non-weighted papers would sort of give us an indication how your child is doing. And if he's not doing well in mid-years, will clearly show that he needs help immediately. So as we speak now, the kids are all taking their papers this week. So whether is it weighted or non-weighted, the tension is still there.
I'm asking this because I feel the same way. Why can't we trust our children more?
Exactly.
Why?
Yes. Why can't we trust our children more?
Okay, go for it, yeah.
Well, if I were to ask my daughter, darling, do you need help? Mommy, help means more tuition? I don't want that. But then you need help, right? You want to do well. You want to go to your desired school. So you have to have help. So I can't trust her. I think she needs me to create an awareness that this is the route to where she wants to end up in.
Got it. Okay. Now, this is what viewers at home say when I asked if scrapping mid-year exams reduced their reliance on tuition. Okay. You guys want to know the results?
Yes.
Nearly 88% said no. Yeah, which is about 12% of you say that. Said no, and 12% say yes. Okay, let's move on. Jason, I'd like to come to you for the next question. There are some who feel that the changes made by MOE sends parents straight into the arms of private tutors. Why do you think that's the case?
Well, I think at a fundamental level, underlying this whole discussion of private tutoring is this idea that somehow some, if not all students, need extra help outside of school, beyond what mainstream schools can provide or are already providing. I keep hearing this theme over and over again tonight. And we have to remember, of course, that the Singapore government actually endorses certain forms of private tutoring. For example, the private tutoring provided by ethnic-based self-help groups. And there are also some primary schools who conduct maths workshops for parents so that the parents can help out with the coaching of maths at home. And in some kind of way, this may actually be putting pressure on parents, because now the role of teaching is expected to be shared. It's not the exclusive preserve of the school. And there are parents, of course, who have neither the time nor the expertise nor the desire to engage in constant bickering with their children as they try to teach their children various school subjects. So what practical alternative is there but to outsource this
so
kind of
you've
teaching?
hit on the magic word for me, which is a practical alternative. Jason, Uncle Jason, you train teachers, right? Does it concern you that we are spending so much money on tuition?
I find it interesting that Singapore has an education system that is very well renowned around the world. And this system is coexisting with a very prevalent private tutoring landscape. So we have to ask ourselves, what exactly is going on here when private tutoring is so widespread amid the reassuring news that we receive every now and then that our schools are among the best in the entire world.
I have seen comments where people say that we have tuition because the schools are not doing their job. Is that fair?
Well, I think it's difficult to make that kind of blanket assertion, which covers every teacher and every school. And I'm listening to the various voices that have come in online, and it's clear that there's different motivations probably for engaging private tutors. Some parents want their children to be able to catch up with what's being covered in school, while others want their children to be taught ahead of what's being currently taught in school. And then some feel that their children have particular special learning needs, for instance, that require extra attention outside of school. So we're not talking about a one-size-fits-all kind of explanation here.
Let me ask the two boys. Caleb, let's start with you. Do you think that tuition is filling in a gap between school and what you need to produce during exams?
I feel like tuition helps me get ahead of whatever I learn in school. So I feel like it really helps me for exams.
You said it helps you to be ahead.
Yes.
Is it important for you to stay ahead?
Yes, it's very important, because usually if the teacher teaches too fast and you can't keep up, tuition is something you can use to fill up those gaps.
Okay, Julian, what about yourself? Do you think that tuition is covering a gap?
Yes, I think so, because if I don't know this particular topic, I can ask my tuition teacher and they can help tell me more about it.
Okay, but when you were in school, don't you have time to consult your teachers or your classmates? And I asked the two boys because during my time, I only have my clever friends to ask, Why can't you ask your friends?
I also can ask my friends. Yeah.
Okay, it's cheap, no? It's free one.
Yeah.
Okay, right. We'll discuss again later on, okay? It's time for another break. When we come back, why can't we see tuition as being complementary to school? We'll be right back.
Singaporeans above 40 are more likely to have chronic illnesses, needing long-term medical care. Don't be the one who misses out because of ill health. Live for tomorrow, today.
In the world of trade, it helps to be part of a network. Well, not just any network. UOB's network. The most extensive network in ASEAN.
Through this network, you can connect directly to my business.
And mine.
And mine.
And mine! With this network, you can source for suppliers big
and small across supply chains.
And connect to sector specialists through 500 UOB offices globally.
With access to an end-to-end platform that syncs up your entire value chain.
For a complete view of your trade and cash position across borders on one single interface.
And that's what makes UOB the one bank for ASEAN.
It's where the region's most extensive trade network meets a truly integrated supply chain platform. And there's just one more thing to say. Be part of ASEAN's most extensive trade network.
Is joint discomfort stopping you? Ocean Health Joint RX UC2, 2 times more effective for joint mobility. Boosted with curcumin to ease joint discomfort. Ocean Health. Put the spring back in your joints.
Is your denture really clean? Soak in water. Brush with regular toothpaste.
These methods cannot clean effectively. Use Polydent Cleanser. It has 4 powerful benefits that deep clean your dentures without scratching and remove stains and plaque effectively. Polydent for cleaner and fresher dentures. Try Polydent Denture Cleanser. Removes bacteria 10 times better than regular toothpaste.
Polydent, Singapore's #1 dentist recommended denture care brand.
Joint pain is a thing of the past. Thompson Osteopro contains plant-based, fully reacted glucosamine sulfate. It helps repair and strengthen damaged cartilage. And now, our mobility have improved. Move freely, live fully with Thompson Osteopro.
Hey bro, Rendang Delicious Pizza is back! And even better, where are you?
You asked, we delivered. Pizza Hut's Rendang Delicious Pizza is coming home. Get it for almost 60% off at only $13.80 till 5th of March.
Perfecting the air, Daikin.
Daikin presents. The votes are in. The wait is over.
Singapore, you have chosen our winners!
Here are the winning designs for Design Bom PP for the main category and in the kids category.
Steady Bom PP!
Keep an eye out for these stunning designs on our partners' goodies.
Wow, I can't wait to get them!
In the meantime, take a closer look at the winning designs. Check them out at sg60.mediacorp.sg today. Design Bom PP is organized by MediaCorp, brought to you by main partners Caltex with Techron, the fuel that helps you drive further. Progress awaits. This is Audi, presented by Shopee with the following brands available on Shopee. Holistic Way, Singapore's #1 health supplement brand. Ocean Health, 2 times more effective for your joint mobility.
Welcome back. I'm going to read quickly a comment that a viewer has just shared with us. As a parent, we prefer not to sign up for tuition. However, it is of no choice. Teachers cannot help as they are too busy. How can the school help more? Jason, from the school, and you have to go to a tuition center. Why can't you get help from the school?
Sometimes the tuitions have different methods of teaching you, like how to solve this math problem, and sometimes it might be easier for certain students to understand, such as myself. Like those methods taught in my tuition helped me more than those methods taught in my school.
So what you're saying is that your teacher may teach you one method and the center may teach you other methods which illuminate the whole situation better. It sort of makes it clearer for you.
Yes.
Okay. Jason, I want to ask you, what can or should schools do if we want to try to reduce our reliance on tuition?
Well, the Ministry of Education, for its part, has never said that it believes that children ought not to go for tuition at all. So we are left with a situation where the decision pretty much rests with individual students and their parents, really. And it's tricky because, as I mentioned just now, individual circumstances are so diverse. So there's no one blanket rule that says your child should not be going for a tuition or your child needs tuition urgently.
Should we put tutors and teachers on the same level? Because do they do different things when the kids are in school and then when the kids are at the tuition center? Is there a difference that parents are not really paying attention to?
For one thing, mainstream schools aren't only about the business of imparting academic knowledge. They're also about social and emotional skills, also about learning to work with other people, for instance. So I don't think we can equate the two sectors as being identical.
So it seems that we should also be realistic about what teachers can achieve within the school environment. Okay, let me ask the two children again. Julian, let's start with you. What do you think your grades will be like if you didn't have tuition?
I think my grades will be like around the 70s range for English, math and science if I didn't have tuitions. But for Chinese it will be way lower because tuition has helped me a lot over the years and I feel I need tuition to buck up.
Okay, so your grades improved with tuition?
Yes.
Is that it? Is it improved by a lot from 70s, you were saying, to what?
To 90s for science and math and to 80s range.
Sweetie, what makes you happy? What makes you feel like, hey, I'm the man? 70 or 90?
90.
Okay. Caleb, what about you? What do you think your grades would be like if you didn't have tuition?
Like Julian said, tuition really helps me with my school studies and everything. If I didn't have tuition, I think I would pretty much fail most of my subjects. Because during primary school, my math was just around the passing mark. And my science too. But then when I got tuition, immediately rose to like 90 plus. So I think I really understood what the tuition was teaching me. I feel like if I didn't have tuition...
All right. Let's move on. I think there is an area that is often overlooked when discussing the issue of tuition. Personally, I know that it is impossible, next to impossible, for me to teach my own children without actually ruining our relationship. So how feasible would it be for you, mummies, to teach your own children? Angela, I think we've seen you on national TV trying to teach him. So Poonam, let's come to you.
My relationship with my kids have improved heaps and bounds when I stopped teaching them. I outsourced. But also, I have the weekends, I go through with them, but that's recap. So we have a healthy relationship now. And I used to be screaming and shouting. I still do that, but lesser now.
What about yourself? Very quickly, Angela. Can you teach your own son?
No.
Why?
Yeah, because Caleb will debate with me over every small little thing. So he will say that I'm teaching him wrongly. And when I ask him to tell me what's the correct method, he refuses to do so. So it's a huge challenge trying to teach him, especially when I'm not familiar with the curriculum now.
Yes, I think that would be really a big challenge for me because I have no idea what the curriculum is about. Before we take the break, let's do another poll. And I want to ask you, should we have stricter regulations for the tuition industry? Scan the QR code and let me know what you think. Should we have stricter regulations for the tuition industry? We'll be right back.
Take a moment. Have a look around. There's something in the air. Something new. Something shared. Something rising. It's the challenges we've overcome in the past. Now driving us ahead towards bigger, shared aspirations. A renewed sense of partnership and care for all, young and old. I hope you like it. A refreshed spirit that'll push us onwards. Boldly and further than ever before. Take a moment and take it all in as one. We can see it. We can hear it. we can feel it all around us. It's a spirit worth celebrating, one that will guide us forward. Together.
Majulah Singapura, Majulah Singapura.
Order, boss.
My dentures.
I'll have satay and... Nope, too tough for dentures.
Nasi lemak.
Okay, but no peanuts and anchovies.
But...
Too small, too hard, no Polydent, no way.
I'll see you tomorrow.
New Polydent Max Hold and Seal gives your dentures 5 times protective food barrier and the strongest hold. Let's eat. If your mouth could talk, it would ask for Polydent. Satisfaction guaranteed or your money back.
Burger, fries, and a drink from just $5. McSaver meals, only at McDonald's.
Singapore, the most fatigued country in the world. It's time to change with RicoGen Prime. Made with premium ingredients, with proven scientific studies to help increase your mental and physical energy. Refuel your energy, resync your body and mind, revitalize your everyday, regenerate your muscle and support joints. RicoGen Prime. Be present, be active, be you.
With Caltex Go, you don't have to queue to pay. Let us shower you with exclusive offers, a birthday voucher, and join our lower carbon journey. Earn and redeem link points, and pay for fuel in your car. Download Caltex Go now. Fuel more rewarding journeys.
Don't miss out on the Everybody Knows Fair happening 21st to 23rd February. Introducing the hottest deals and best value for health products all in one place. Enjoy affordable prices on wellness goods from many reputable health brands and get exclusive deals only available at the Everybody Knows Fair. Stock up on your health essentials at the Everybody Knows Fair happening 21st to 23rd February at Campus 1 Level 2 Atrium. Organized by MediaCorp and supported by the following partners.
Welcome back. I'm going to take the first question from our viewer. Now, you have said, can we regulate tuition fees because some centres and tutors charge a wide range of fees for the same grade? We're going to ask the centres, of course. Jace, can we regulate the fees and what will that mean?
I guess for regulation of fees, it's not easy. You can talk about same subjects across the same level, but different tuition centres, they may have their own specific ways of teaching. So for example, at my site, I do have my own specific answering techniques that I teach the students, and I do my own lesson plans which focus on different segments. So we can't really use same price range to really regulate. It's a bit like handphones.
Okay, so it's never been done before, but doctors have got fee guidelines. What will be the impact, Lily? What will be the impact if the authorities start to regulate fees?
I think going back to the earlier question, whether teachers in school and tuition teachers actually view the same, and I would say the answer is no, because I believe we are service providers. We are not, what parents will think that they must have, but we do see how we can provide support for them. So if there are really a lot of regulations, I believe it will really affect a lot of the tuition business owners as well as the staff who are working there, the teachers who are teaching there. And I think to that, is really a great impact that we really should consider. Yeah.
Okay. Earlier, I had asked viewers at home if there should be stricter regulations for the tuition industry. Let's take a look at what you've said. And 73% of you say yes. So 26% said no. I want to ask you another question, and that is, if the authorities were to regulate the industry further, what would be the type of regulation you would call for? Scan the QR code to let us know what you would want to see regulated in the Singapore tuition landscape. So how did you feel? We said earlier on that people do want to regulate. How does that make you feel?
I think there really needs to be consideration of what regulation means and whether we are actually really reacting to perhaps the idea of black sheep. In all honesty, I think for most tuition owners, we do put in a lot of hard work to really think up of curriculum that will support the children. And when we talk about this, it really means that, you know, it's not just about profit making, but believing that we make a positive impact to support these children and parents who, like they mentioned, may not have the ability or the knowledge of the curriculum, and that's why they do want our help.
Let me ask Jason, and as well as the two mummies, if you look at the screen, what do you want regulated? Jason, let's start with you. What is the first thing that you want to see regulated?
Teacher accreditation, because I think there's relatively loose regulation, especially in the case of the freelancers, which I mentioned earlier. There's no minimum requirements in terms of either academic qualifications or teaching qualifications. And that's a worry, I guess, if we are really concerned about the overall quality of education being provided in the private sector.
Teacher accreditation. What about Poonam?
I'm concerned as well. Teachers' accreditation, and their qualifications. I think that it's so important.
Angela, yourself?
Personally, I would feel that the curriculum is important. So, you know, like what was mentioned earlier, you know, in terms of the fee itself, curriculum should be linked to the fees. If there's anything that is exceptional about the curriculum, then, you know, and a higher fee itself may be reasonable, but, you know, it must be justified.
Okay, let's just be clear that the Education Ministry does subject the private tuition industry to some form of regulation right now. Tuition and enrichment centres who teach 10 or more students will have to register. Now, registration does not mean accreditation. It simply means what it says, which is registration. There is no regulatory framework for freelance private tutors at the moment. And now the results of my last poll are in. What would you like to see tighter regulations on? And you have spoken, viewers. 34%, the numbers are still jumping, but 1/3 of you say teacher qualification and accreditation. About the same, 32% say fee caps. Interesting. And then advertising and marketing, not so many, and centre curriculum, even less. And for the final poll of the night, again, scan the QR code to respond. I would like to know if you would ever be persuaded not to have tuition for your child. Angela, you are making me laugh. Your answer is a clear no. Why? You look like somebody was going to throw you into the deep end of the sea or something. Why?
You see, the thing is that I believe the school teachers are doing a great job teaching Caleb, but the thing is the tuition actually has helped a lot. So without tuition itself, I would not be able to, you know, push Caleb's potential to the max.
Let me ask Lily, besides being a centre owner, you are also a mother.
Yes, I am.
Would you say no? Do your kids have tuition?
Yes, they do. So at this point, I think 3 of my kids, they are in primary school, and all 3 of them, they have both English and Chinese tuition. Of course, for English, I mean, we run a business, and we do see the value that the lessons can add to them. And for Chinese, I think it does help them to have more exposure, more structured practice, and these are things that which I feel I'm not able to provide. Yeah.
Okay. Let's take a look at the poll results. I had asked you, would you ever be persuaded not to have tuition for your child? Oh, guys, this is really, really interesting. The numbers are jumping. We are half-half. So we are still hovering at 49% and 50%. What does that tell me? A lot of people just can't make up their minds about tuition. It's going to be really hard to regulate this industry, as Jason, you have put across. And yet the sense from the polls that we've had is that people are saying that there must be some form of regulation. The question is, how are we going to strike that balance? I hope that our show has given you some food for thought. Thank you so much for your participation. Good night.
This program is available on demand for free on MeWatch.